Streamed live on Twitch at LordBrandon10.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here with another YouTube video, and today we are here with the Lord's Cast podcast, episode 3. For those of you who are not familiar of what this is a podcast that I do that we host every so often. Sometimes we'll have guests on to talk for an hour or two, or sometimes we'll do solos just like this, or whatever the case, and we talk about everything Destiny Rising mainly. And today we are going to be talking about why I quit Destiny 2, in particular Destiny 2 Renegades, for Destiny Rising. So little fun fact here, it is 3 o'clock in the morning. I am coming off of the Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua fight. What a fight that was. That's a whole nother podcast if I wanted to do one on that. But yeah, I'm a little hyped up and ready to go. This is actually my second time re-filming this. We did the first one live over on my Twitch. That's where everything is usually live and exclusive. And I was an idiot, and I recorded it and I deleted it by accident trying to work on some videos. So this is our second take at doing this, all raw. So with that being said, let's go and hop into this. A couple things I want to point out real quick before we get into the meat and potatoes of things. Number one, this is going to be my thoughts and my thoughts alone. The reason being is a lot of the time in the Destiny community, it's always about the Steam charts or this or that. And I'm not saying that's not all relevant information. I'm just going to be speaking from my perspective on why I left. And two, I don't have a script. As you guys can probably notice, I don't have a script. I do have bullet points that I did jot down on an order that I want to go in. Yeah, so with that, for my Destiny Rising community, if you guys are listening to this and you guys are needing any calamity helps or anything like that, please check the pinned comments down below on this video. There will be a link to my Discord. We have tons of people in there who are constantly doing runs, answering questions, and just overall a great community to hang out and talk and just everything Destiny in that community. For those of you who want to watch my runs live, or me playing Destiny Rising live and hang out with us live in chat while we do these runs and even film podcasts such as this, check the link in the description. For my Twitch channel, go drop a follow over there, turn on your notifications so that way you know when I go live, and of course like, comment, subscribe on this video. So with that, all that mumbo jumbo aside, I want to start off by saying Destiny 2 Renegades was really amazing. I give it a 9 out of 10, like literally 9 out of 10. It is, when you look at Edge of Fate and Renegades, they are literally two different styles of DLC, and I didn't really enjoy Edge of Fate so much, and we'll get into that here in a bit. But Renegades was like a breath of fresh air. From what I played, I haven't played Destiny 2 since August 28th, I believe, which is when Destiny Rising dropped, because I've been focusing solely on that game. That's what we built our community on, a vast majority of our community on. And I tried out Edge of Fate when it launched, and I didn't like it. It didn't feel like Destiny. I didn't like the changes, and like I said, we'll get into all that here in a bit. But Destiny 2 Renegades, you know, it was amazing. The story was amazing. The Star Wars theatrics and the crossover with Lucasfilm Games was absolutely amazing. I love the ATSTs. I love Imperium Loom. I believe that's his name. I loved every Judge and Bell and Drifter, Blues Ghost. I loved every second of that DLC, and it was so surreal. It really was, and it really hats off to Bungie. The blasters were amazing. The Praxic blades, aka the lightsabers, felt really amazing, and dare I say even better than the lightsabers and, let's say, Battlefront 1 or 2. The customizations that you can do on those blades, the combat loophole that you can do, the three types of combat styles that you can choose for your sword, the builds that you can pair into them. really was amazing. It was truly a pinnacle of the DLC. We're gonna speak a little bit more on the contest, dungeon equilibrium on one of my bullet points. So I don't want to share too much on my thoughts on that just yet. But with that being said, let's go and jump into point number 1 on why I left, or why Destiny 2 Renegades will be is my last DLC for Destiny 2, and that is the same cycle every time. And I want to expand on that a little bit. I'm gonna throw a screenshot up on screen, and when you look at it, you start with things. Let's say Lightfall, it's so over. Final Shape, we're so back. Edge of Fate, it's so over. Renegades, we're so back. And it's like a constant loophole. It's a constant loophole, and it's constant. And I don't know, like, I guess I've been playing Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 both since alpha and beta for both games, and I don't know if it's repetition and I'm tired of it or what. I think I don't like the I got Bungie moments where we get a DLC like Edge of Fate right after the Final Shape, and it's like a night and day difference between the two. I get that Bungie was moving in the direction where they're not going to do the big DLCs like Final Shape. I believe they said they're going to do, and someone quote me on this if I'm wrong. I haven't been keeping up really much on D2, stuff since Rising, but I believe they said that they're doing 2, smaller or medium-sized DLCs, every 6 months, so it's like twice a year. And I understood that, going into Edge of Fate and Renegades, but I expected decent gameplay mechanics and stuff to go for traditional Destiny, and Edge of Fate didn't feel like that. The Matter Spark thing just wasn't really my cup of tea. And I want to point out a difference here. When you look at Destiny Rising in the main story, the second to last mission, I believe it was, you're literally using your ghost on a stealth mission when Wolf dies. And that was so theatrical, because it's never been done in Destiny. A stealth mission of that caliber has never been done in Destiny before. You're literally playing as your ghost, navigating through tunnel, the little ear vents and things like that, and it was so surreal to be able to enjoy that and play it. And I got so hyped from it. But then you look at Destiny 2, for example, Edge of Fate, we're getting Matter Spark, which, to my understanding, served no story, it served no purpose and the main storyline, except for when we got the Kepler. And I didn't really understood what was the point of it. I really didn't get it. I didn't like it. I thought it was a tedious idea how every mission it was Matter Spark canon, Matter Spark canon, Matter Spark canon. I felt like that was the final boss of the Edge of Fate, and I don't know, that the content just, it wasn't there. And it's been like that, not just Edge of Fate, but there of course was prior DLCs, seasonal content that was obviously the same way. And it just, I just guess I got tired of it. And Destiny Rising really innovates. They, each character, every unit, characters, whatever you want to call them, they all have their own abilities. Each guardian talks. Every ghost that you play or that you have on your units, they all talk to you. They all have their own story that you run through on them. Different abilities across all of the units. None of them have the same stuff. And it was just so unique and so surreal to be able to experience that. And I'm going to jump into point number 2, which is the issues from year 1 going on today, and along with the balancing issues. So I want to start with the balancing issues first, or kind of like the build crafting kind of thing or whatever. And I did have a chance to talk to my chat, so I'm a little bit more educated on it. this go around on the talk. But when Edge of Fate was announced, it was also announced that Armor 3.0 would be introduced into the game. And to be honest, I was happy for it. I was really stoked for it. I thought it was like a D3 level systematic type of change, if I'm being honest with you. I thought it was going to be maybe good for the game, but at the same time, I was kind of like a little disappointed with it on launch. To my understanding, and like I said, I haven't played Destiny 2, maybe, but all of 10 hours combined for Edge of Fate and Renegades both. Due to me being on Rising, but from the education I got from the Twitch chat, it just, I don't know, I don't like being limited on what to spec into. And what I mean by that is, before with Destiny 2, before, like pre Edge of Fate, even pre Final Shape, and I want to say pre Lightfall as well, I was able to go into, let's say, Ghost of the Deep, and I was able to do Bonk Hammer and have my weapons do the damage that they're supposed to do at the light level that I was at max light level, and be able to do some really insane, crazy stuff with like really, really good builds. And I'm not saying you can't do that now with Armor 3.0. You most definitely can, but I felt like I had to choose what I wanted to spec into with Armor 3.0. So if like I wanted to do melee, I'd have to, build an actual build around melee. And I don't know if I'm getting my point across the way I'm trying to get it across. What I'm talking about is the actual stats on the armor. Before there wasn't a melee stat, so my damage wasn't based via a melee stat or the ability regen based on a ability stat. Much more rather it was tied into the armor mods more so than it was the stats on the actual attributes themselves. And I will say I'm happy that Bonk Titan got a return in Edge of Fate due to the melee. I believe my chat told me it was like what level, or it was 80 stats to be able to have like the infinite uptime on it or something like that it was, and then of course more damage or whatever the case was the higher you go with it. But then you have things like weapons, where if you want the most weapon damage, then you have to spec in all the way on weapon. And that kind of hurt me when it came down to contests for both Edge of Fate and for Renegades, which I quit literally after maybe an hour or two playing, and we'll get into that in a bit. And it just, I don't know, like the whole Armor 3.0, I think it's a good idea, but I think the wrong things were incorporated into it. At least, it could be a hot take, and maybe I'm the only one saying it. I don't know, it didn't feel like Destiny to me with Armor 3.0, and I'm probably the only one saying it. It just, I don't know if I am, but it just, I don't know, something about it, it just turned me off. And it drove me away from wanting to do build crafting. Even playing Renegades, I'm still running like tier 1, tier 2 armor, because my tier 1, tier 2 that I had post or pre Edge of Fate still gives me 300 stat and weapon, super, and class on my Titan, which is what I was using for bolt charge at the time, pre Edge of Fate. And so I just kind of rolled it over, and it kind of worked out. And so I haven't really needed to go for anything else. But now, if I want like a melee thing, I'm gonna have to shift some things around, farm some better armor pieces, maybe substitute class for melee, maybe super for something else, something on that caliber. My chat was also telling me like you don't even have to worry about speccing into health. So I didn't really understand what the purpose of the health stat was if nothing changed with our base health. I don't know, it seemed like everything that they added to the stats, at least for me, just was pointless. I know they removed red borders. I'm not sure when that happened. They didn't remove it, but they stopped adding red border support for like the newer weapons. To be honest, I quite frankly don't care. I know that's a hot take. I know most people preferred it. Some people didn't really care for it. I, to be honest, don't care. Regardless of the fact that I farm for the weapons I want. So whether I'm doing that via red boxes or if I'm doing that, via running a strike or whatever it is that drops weapons these days, that's what I'm doing to farm rolls on the weapons that I want. So that way I can be successful and do damage and things like GMs and things like that, and raids and whatever. So I didn't really care so much about the red borders or whatever. So while we're still on topic 3 and we just discussed the armor, I want to go into number 4, which is contest mode. And I've got to say, I'm really just disappointed in contest mode. Even like pre-final shape or pre-Edge of Fate, like even final shape contest was like final shape, Edge of Fate, and Renegades, and even maybe pre-final shape, to be honest with you. No, not pre-final shape. I think Lightfall was okay. I think it was somewhat okay during Lightfall, but like final shape, Edge of Fate, and Renegades were all terrible contest experiences. I don't know if they purposely were like making it hard. Like when I say harder, I mean like harder. Like the damage checks were insane. When you look at a Lightfall contest, Root of Nightmares, compared to a contest Salvation, or not even Salvation's Edge, but like a contest Desert Perpetual, it's like a night and day difference. It's literally like a night and day difference between the two. And I don't really like the damage checks. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, damage checks are fine, but I'm fine with damage checks at being at like a lower level, because when you do contests, you're always going to be minus whatever power level it's set at. Usually it's like 30, 40 that you're under. And I'm fine with like having to hit, build your armor for you to hit harder and things like that for contests. Like contests should be a challenge, but it shouldn't be like Superman damage check 4 encounter straight. Like Desert Perpetual really turned me off. It really did. And I don't know what happened. I don't know what they did. I don't know what deltas or whatever they incorporated from like final shaping up, but it was truly terrible. It really was. Like, I cannot stress that enough. I even tried this past one for Equilibrium for a few hours post campaign, and I gotta say, like, that was a really terrible experience. We beat first encounter. We got the second encounter with Harrow, the Dredgen Apprentice, and I'm building some different things that I'm seeing from like scouting other players as I'm playing. I'm seeing like the Wolfsbane axe might be a thing. I'm seeing Parasite kind of might be a thing. I'm seeing Praxic Blades might kind of be a thing. The little new Warlock grenade strat or whatever it is with the exotic arms might be a little play here. So I'm kind of like, specking in. I'm specking my Surge mods, 2 different loadouts. Little did I know that the new, the modifier that they added, Not Swap, actually cancels out the Surge mods if you have them on 2 different boots. And I didn't know that. I'm like, I'm swapping builds here, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong here and why it's canceling out, because I'm not swapping exotics. I'm just swapping a different pair of legendary boots so I can use my surges, because my surges are just sitting there. They're just stacked up at 4 and they're not being used. I just want to swap to my boots to use them for damage. And when you swap, everything gets depleted. You swap 1 pair of boots, everything gets depleted. And it really turned me off. Like, it seriously turned me off. Like, when you look at contest mode, for Onslaught, Salvation, the Eclipse, that was so enjoyable. The challenge is right. Damage check was sorta alright. I think I would have loved to see just a teeny bit harder. Not too much harder like Desert Perpetual, but just a teeny bit harder. Because we were like 1 to 2 phasing it on contest. I think ideally you should be looking at like a 3 phase, ideally, on contest. And it was nice. The challenge was there. The ad density was there. Match game was at an all-time high. coming right out of the story where match game was really important. You know, like everything felt good about a contest. You know, we you know, we went in. I think we spent like 2 hours on our no, an hour or two or whatever it was on our clear. We got it done. Rolled 47th for Onslaught. We turned around. We started helping the community, and we ended up doing over like 300 helps just in Eclipse. And then turned around before Eclipse even dropped. We did 200 helps initially just for the launch of the raid, because what they did, and I actually like what they did with Destiny Rising, is they introduced the raid first, so everyone ran it, and then they introduced contests. So when they introduced the raid first, it was just a normal, you know, normal mode version of the raid. And I went in and cleared it. I already knew what to do, so because, you know, they had the raid in the beta and the alpha, and I made a guide. I was actually the very first guide on YouTube for it. And so we opened it up on day one to start helping people and getting them clears, because they actually held an event for normal mode on day one. Mind you, contest wasn't even in the game. And they held an event for the launch of the new raid in Destiny Rising, and it was where you could get an emblem, and I believe it was like a title. I think, don't quote me. Actually, there was no title, but you did get an emblem and like some nice cool rewards to signify that you did it within the time that they give you. I think they give you like 3 days or 4 days or something like that. And then the week after, they dropped contest, and contest was a whole different story. They changed the mechanics, they changed the ad density, they changed the delta, so you actually sit like a lower power under, I believe. I think it was like 2k underpowered. Like I said, the mechanics changed. Like it was nice, and there was like different strategies you can do to get the plate to activate. You could do it like one on one, you know, 2 people on one side or 1 person across. Like, it was so many strategies, and I loved it. And we did, I think overall on that one raid, we did like 500 plus helps. It was nice. The best contest experience I've ever had aside from Root of Nightmares. But yeah, contest mode, not swap, I think has to be the dumbest thing ever introduced, ever. You put such damage checks in the game, and you're telling people they can't swap gear. Well, if you don't want people swapping gear and putting things like not swap in the game, then you're gonna have to lower the damage. I mean, they're gonna have to do something. You know, I don't know what. I quite frankly don't care anymore, because I'm not going back to it. But yeah, that's that. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and move into number 5 on the list, and this is the dungeons with no rewinding. And I gotta say, this is one that really turned me off in a certain way. Let me elaborate. So if you guys are not familiar, this has been in a span of about 2 years, I would say. There has been an issue in Destiny where there has been 2 of the most notable glitches in the game, which is one, the weapon crafting glitch, and I believe it was the lightweight frame glitch. I think that's what it was for the swords. I'm not too sure. I wasn't there for that. I just kind of noticed it from a distance when I was on Rising. But back then, I'll speak on the one that I was a part of and, you know, playing at the time. When the weapon craft, for those of you who don't know, for my Destiny Rising audience, the weapon crafting event glitch was where people were going to the Enclave on Mars, which is where you can like make new weapons or craft new weapons based off if you have the weapon patterns from the red borders that are in Destiny 2. So essentially you just craft weapons, right? Or whatever the case. And people were taking perks from like exotic guns and, you know, different things like that, and throwing them on other weapons where they weren't meant to be. And it literally, in a good way at the time, from how the community saw it, broke the game. And, you know, Bungie kind of turned it into some type of like, have fun with it while you can until we patch it type of thing. And people were solo flawlessing dungeons and raids and all types of stuff. And I gotta say, it really turns me off because for those of you who don't know, I was a low man person. I had solo flawless every dungeon in the game, excluding Equilibrium. I have a blue label next to every raid in the game, so whether that be duo flawless, the solo that I have for Crota, or trio flawless, all of my raids have a blue label followed by a flawless. Except I think Salvation's Edge I don't have a flawless in, I just have a duo completion in that. So I will say, for the record, I don't think Bungie so much cares for raid report and or dungeon report. They don't care. Raid report and dungeon report, to my knowledge, has nothing to do with Destiny. It's like a whole separate team that runs those sites, but it uses the Destiny API to produce the profiles that's on there. But what I will say is Bungie does care and does focus on the solo flawlesses for the dungeons. And you have people going in there getting the emblems when they shouldn't have it. You have people going in there getting the blue labels when they shouldn't have it. And it really turned me off because, you know, people like me who spent the time to build strats to perform those activities at that caliber were able to walk in and do it in less than a minute, 5 minutes, or whatever the case, for all of them. And it really turned me off that Bungie didn't take action on it quick enough, and that they didn't rewind the game or didn't reverse you know, any of those emblems that were achieved in the game. Because for my Destiny Rising community, once again, if you didn't know, Bungie has triumphs in the game for dungeons in particular, where if you solo flawless a dungeon, you are rewarded an emblem, and it's actually required for some of the seals to at least solo the dungeons. And it really just bugged me the wrong way. You know, I spent a very long time at the launch of Ghost of the Deep to perfect it and to get that strat down. I think Ghost of the Deep is by far, well, not right now, it's obviously not, but at the time it was the hardest dungeon in the game to solo flawless, and it was by far my hardest dungeon in the game at the time. Or maybe I will say of all time, it was easier than Vespers. For me, it was easier than the one that was introduced in Final Shape, the second one with the, I don't even know the name, Sundered Doctrine. It was definitely easier than that. Or hard, you know, Sundered was way easier than Ghost. Ghost was hard, and you had people that were going in just, you know, clearing it like it was just cake and butter. And I didn't like that. I really didn't. And I really despise Bungie for not taking action on it. And I know I'm probably the only one saying it. I don't know if I am the only one saying it. And I know it's probably a hot take, and forgive me, I apologize. It's just my thought process on it. I was really turned off by it. And it brings me into point number 6, which is empty promises, talking, you know, empty promises, which we'll get into, and contest emblems and things like that. For those of you who don't know, Equilibrium, once again, was the dungeon that was just released with Renegades. There was obviously a contest emblem for that, like there is every contest, raid, or dungeon. And Bungie issued a tweet out, and I'll put it up on screen, where they are going to reverse, they're looking into investigating a reverse of the people who cleared it after the quote-unquote 48-hour mark to reverse it so they wouldn't have the emblem. So, according to my Twitch chat, it was only around 50 people total who got the emblem post 48-hour mark. And for the record, this has never been done ever for any of the other contests in Destiny's history. Why on earth are they focusing on this one in particular? Why didn't they do it with the other ones? Why didn't y'all do it when the glitch was happening with the weapons glitch? Why weren't y'all doing it then? Why are we doing it on Renegades? Why are we reversing those emblems now? And if that's the case, Bungie, you're going to have to remove my Sundered Doctrine contest emblem away from me, because I cleared Sundered Doctrine on contest 18 minutes past the 48-hour mark. You know why? because the game let me stay in the activity. There was no pop-up message saying that I was gonna get kicked out, or that if I cleared it now that I wouldn't get any rewards. The triumph for both Equilibrium and both Sunder Doctrine at the time when the contest was in the game did not say 48 hours. It just said cleared it while contest was in the game. So if you have a person who plays on PlayStation, I gave this example on stream, if you have a kid who plays on PlayStation, doesn't have a PC, doesn't have a phone, just plays on PlayStation, gets together with a good team of similar people or whatever, and they clear the, they're in there trying their best to clear it. They don't have access to read the TWIDs, so they don't know that it's 48 hours. They just know it's a limited time thing, and they clear it. They cleared it. They worked hard for it. They were allowed to stay in the activity. They cleared it, etc., etc. They got the emblem. Why, if you are so concerned about people getting the emblems after the 48-hour mark, why are you guys, one, not removing the players from the activity, or two, putting a pop-up message in the game stating that if you clear it now, then you won't get the rewards? Like, why are we not doing these things? Seriously, why are we, but we're trying to reverse emblems. I don't know. I find it funny that they're doing it for Equilibrium for 50 people when, when it's been done before in the past for literally every piece of contest in the game. It literally blows my mind. But I want to go into like the empty promises portion of this bullet point. And, we look at, once again, I want to pull up Renegades, pre-Renegades, we had a Destiny 2 Into the Renegades Vidoc. Thought it was a pretty solid Vidoc. One of the things that really stood out to me was that they were going to announce a roadmap. I don't think, someone quote me if I'm wrong, I don't know if they said quote unquote it was going to be a Destiny 2 multi-year roadmap, or if it was going to be a D2 Renegades roadmap, time span or whatever. I don't know which of the two it was, but they said that we were going to get it soon. Soon took us 4 months or 3 months, however long it took us. Meanwhile, Destiny 2 or Destiny Rising told us that we were going to get a roadmap. We got it the next day. And it covers the span of like 5 different seasons that stretches out for the entire year. There's a 9-day difference there, ladies and gentlemen. Not only did we get the roadmap, but we also got the activities that would launch within those seasons on D-Rising. For example, season 3 or 4, we're getting a defensive tower mode or whatever it's called that we're getting. We're getting new story, I believe season 4. Followed by that's going to be a new raid. Followed by that's going to be the contest version of that raid. Followed by that's going to be, or somewhere in the mixture of all of that, we're going to have a complete server merge with EMEA, APAC, Latin America, North America. Like, all of this was detailed and outlined to great detail on the roadmap from D-Rising. We didn't get that fidelity out of the Renegades roadmap when it did drop 4 months past the time that was, told to us. And I look back on the days of Onslaught or Into the Light, when Into the Light was introduced into Destiny Rising. By the way, Into the Light was the best major update that has ever walked the face of the game. And I'm saying that with Ash and Iron being a thing. I didn't even play that, but I heard the memes online about it. And I remember the promotional stuff that they were doing, that they were putting out at the time of the Into the Light. And one of the things that stood out to me was the 3 Guardians standing there looking at the old tower. I really thought we were going back to the old tower. You look up, you load into the tower. Right now, you can do this right now in the game. You look up and you load into the tower. You've got the helm sitting next to the broken tower that's been broken for almost 11 years. It looks the same way it did back in year 1 of Destiny 2. It looks the same way it did then, and it looks it's like they've made no progress. We've killed gods, we've resurrected gods, we've killed the god of all gods, the Witness, and that tower looks the exact same as it did at the very start of the D2 campaign, or the D2 tower, when, you know, we were in the tower. It does. And I really thought we were going back to the old tower, and we didn't. Come to find out, we did get a somewhat of a tower going back to impromptu type of thing with the final shape, but that was inside the Traveler. It was our memories. It wasn't the tower that we knew, right? And so I don't know. I didn't care too much about it, but like, I thought we were really going back in. I saw like Destiny Bulletin posted that, hey, there's a chance, guys, we might be going back to the old tower. This is the new leaked PlayStation loading screen or whatever, whenever you get ready to click on the game from the PlayStation menu, you know. So it really just the empty promises and just the bait clicks and I don't know, it really threw me off, and I was really just I don't know. All right, so that is going to move us down to my number 7 topic point that I want to bring up, and that is the no clan updates in like forever. So once again, Destiny Rising shines where D2 does not when it comes to the clan system. For the Destiny 2 people that are watching this, Destiny Rising has a clan system called the packs, which consists of 50 players, and your pack has ranks that it can go through every season, and like a overall rank. And on this pack you have a pack map that refreshes weekly with 4 different key objectives to conquer as a pack that drop really good rewards. For example, one of them is a pack exclusive and only pack raids that are literally only able to be done via the pack map, that are exclusive activities to that only. And if you do all 4 of your strongholds or the raids, whatever you want to call them, you have a chance at getting an exotic to drop, because exotics are earned in this game. They're not showered on you. It also has another objective like exploration objectives. So if you go explore this part of the region on your map, you get to earn exclusive currency, which can also be bought by silver in the game, which is called black market coins, which can help you buy different resources in the game. And it gives you a lot of extra stuff and things like that. It refreshes weekly, and it's always an incentive to go and do it. Now compare that to Destiny 2 system. Quite literally, I don't want to say there's nothing, but it's never changed. I think we stopped getting staff banners after season 19, 20 something. I don't know, 20. I don't know. We stopped getting them at a certain point. So like there was just no incentive to re-level your clan, you know, after they stopped supporting the new staff after each season. The only incentive you had to do, you know, to play with your clan was the raid bounties and like the dungeon bounties, gambit bounties, and crucible bounties. And even then those, and at least in our clan, got overlooked, or it was already completed because we, you know, played with people in the clan. So there was like no real incentive to go and do that. Besides that, like the engrams you get from Hawthorne, I believe whenever you level up Hawthorne, literally don't give you anything good, at least to my knowledge when I played, in the time that I did, you know, pre-Edge of Fate. So I don't know what they're dropping now for players, if they're giving tier 5s or whatever, but like there was just there was like no point. There was no, it felt like she was just there. It just, I don't know, it felt very bland. There nothing to do whatsoever. Even like, for example, in Destiny Rising, let's say you get a cool new exotic, it literally will pop up in your roster like, hey, this guy in your clan just got this exotic, or he just got this super rare cosmetic that can only, it's like a 1 in 1,000 drop rate, or whatever the case is. Like, and it will like the system automatically knows your little clan chat, and it is so innovative and it's so good, and you actually feel like you're a part of an actual clan and like you're actually doing things, and it's nice and refreshing compared to what we have in D2. Not to mention, as like a little side note, we have Sparrow. The Destiny Rising has the Sparrow Racing League, or Sparrow Racing, excuse me. Destiny 2 does not. Sparrow Racing has been a long requested game mode to be, introduced in Destiny 2, and it just never came to fruition. Never, came in, along with a lot of other things that we're not going to get into, aka Wrath of the Machine. But like I said, we're not going to get into that, or red subclasses or anything like that. So I don't know. I would have loved, I think Bungie had a lot of, I think they had a lot of plays they could have made with Hawthorne, to be honest with you. But we're gonna go into my point number 8, which is people want more Destiny. People just want more Destiny, and I want to take a second to really explain my thoughts on this. I'm going to give an example. I'm trying to figure out the best way to word this, because I want my thoughts to really be understood by everyone here. Destiny 2 has, for my Destiny Rising people, Destiny 2 has a similar system to like what we have in D Rising, where a lot of the information and story is tied behind like the lore and the triumphs and the weapons and different things like that, right? And for example, a lot of people don't know this, but in Season of the Witch, whenever you finish that story arc in Season of the Wish, there was a triumph. If you did like all your little radios or whatever, there was a triumph in there with Saint 14 and Savathun, where Saint 14 went to Savathun's throne world and literally picked a fight with the Witch Queen, and he killed the Witch Queen over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And he was like, hey, Amaru, I think that's her ghost, Savathun's ghost name. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. He's like, hey, Amaru, res her right now. If you don't res her, I'm gonna kill you too. Because the ghost was like, hey, you've done enough. I'm not gonna keep resin Savathun for you to keep sitting here and bashing her face in. It's like, okay, if Saint said, if you're not gonna do it, I'm gonna just bash your face into the ground, and you're gonna die right behind her. Imagine if we had that in a cutscene, right? But then you look at Destiny 2 Rising, where we have lore and stuff like that not behind the triumphs, but like on character units and things like that, which I think is maybe one of the only 1 or 2 spots it is in the game. You see it. You see everything in cutscenes. All the small talks, all the, whatever. It's like all of it is in cutscenes. You get to experience that. And I'll give you a prime example. Couple seasons ago, back when they dropped Hellhest, they introduced Rossi 11. Rossi 11 is from a city in Destiny Rising. And this particular city was waged in constant battle with the Fallen, I believe it was. And Rossi, which his actual name I think was I don't even know, I forgot his name, but his actual name wasn't even Rossi at the time. It was something else. And he was fighting beside another light bearer, and they were defending their city from, the Fallen, because the Fallen were actually invading their city. It was, they were in war. And this Rossi unit that we have in Destiny Rising end up killing, which actually would have been the real Rossi, and he felt so bad that he killed him, because he used his arc powers to defend the city, his arc light, and accidentally killed his ghost. And therefore, right after he died in the war, and so Rossi died. So this, I forgot his name. I think his name is James Jarrett, something it was. I forgot his name. So he felt so bad that he had killed him, because he was a legendary icon of the city. He was the city's hero. He assumed his identity. And so when that, when that information came out to the Iron Lords, and mind you, this is all in cutscenes. When that information came out to the Iron Lords, they decided that they were going to execute Rossi 11. And so you see this literally live action. Lord Saladin tells the marksman group, they were doing like a firing squad type of execution, and Rossi's ghost is sitting there right next to him. They're just both out there. He's not concealed or anything. And Lord Saladin says, "Ready your weapons." The marksmen, they ready their weapons, and he says, "Fire." And they shoot Rossi, and you're seeing it from the perspective of your ghost, of Rossi's ghost, and they shoot and kill Rossi. And Lord Saladin says, "Hey, ghost, you can resurrect him now." And he resurrects back. He says, "Wait, why did you res me?" He says, "You have paid, you have been executed. From now on, you'll work for the Iron Lords." And he only gave him that honorable death because he was doing some stuff he was helping the Iron Lords with some stuff with the Cabal. And we witnessed that. We heard it. We got to play with that. I have never seen that done in Destiny 2 history at all. I want to give you another example. If I can, I'm not too sure if I can because I'm recording this podcast, but if I can, I'll throw this clip up on screen. But this is coming from the new Jaren's character quest. And I found this really interesting. I want you guys to listen to it.
All over your body.
The type of energy capable of suppressing the light. Simply put, right now he can't run very fast or jump very high, and his combat abilities have been weakened. And I can't conceal myself either.
I want you guys to notice how he said conceal, and all these different, like, my guardian is being suppressed. He can't jump as high because he's being suppressed. He can't, his combat abilities have been diminished because of this light suppression buff. I can't conceal myself. The ghost said I can't conceal myself, so that way I don't die. Not one time in Destiny 2 and Destiny 1 have we ever heard a ghost say, "Conceal. Let me conceal myself while you fight them, Guardian." We've never heard that. Never. And it's like those little story beats. I feel like that would make Destiny 2 so much better. For example, Destiny 2, Destiny 1 combined, we have only heard a handful of ghosts speak. We've heard Tarj, which was Zavala's ghost. We've heard Glint, aka Porky Pig, which is the Crow's ghost. We've heard our ghost. We've heard Sagara. That's it. No other ghost. Meanwhile, in Destiny Rising, every unit that you have not only talks, unlike the Guardian in D2, but every ghost speaks. Every unit's ghost, mind you, there's 15 right now at the time of this podcast, and there's going to be more. All of their ghosts speak. And a little fun fact, and this is another piece of story beat that I love so much, there's a unit in Destiny Rising named Estella. She has a ghost. She was resurrected in like the Arhamkara plains, and her ghost was damaged and was unable to speak. Estella found a relic that she wields in combat, and the relic is a actual Ahamkara like miniature dragon that she wields in combat. It's like a light infused Ahamkara that she wields, and the Ahamkara actually speaks for her ghost because her ghost can't anymore because it was damaged. Like, it's those little story beats and those major story beats in Destiny Rising that I feel like Destiny Rising or Destiny 2 does not capitalize on as much as they should. Now in Renegades they did, but I feel like it was way too late in Renegades, when it came down to blue. And I don't know. So there's a lot of story beats that I would love to see Destiny 2 do better. I would love to see those live action Saint 14 fights with, Savathun. I would. I really, really would. I think that'd make Destiny 2 a great game if we had them. Alright, so that's going to bring us to point number 9, which is going away from the seasonal model. So, a little backstory on this for my Destiny Rising people. When Final Shape released, Final Shape was when they announced that it was going to be followed by 3 episodes, which were kind of like seasons. And those were okay. Heresy was definitely the best. We started off with Echoes, which was kind of lackluster in my opinion. I didn't really care too much about the whole conductor thing. I mean, story was great, but I wasn't moved by it, if you know what I mean. But it was alright. Heresy, literally, they was really, really good. I loved logging in every week to do that. That was amazing. Bungie usually does cook with their Hive stuff. And then that, followed by that, I believe was Revenant. Or no, it was Revenants and then Heresy. I believe, I don't even know the order. It was something like that. The Heresy, long story short, was the best out of all of them. And then after that, there was no more seasons. They're moving to the model, like I mentioned earlier. It's 2 DLCs per year, no seasonal whatsoever. And I don't know, I'm one of those people, I'm not gonna lie to you. I know it's kind of frowned upon in the community, but I love to be drip fed, or, story fed, or whatever the case was with the seasonal model. I loved logging in every week to do my new story. It brought like a sense of joy. Now I don't know, I don't want to say sense of joy, but like it gave me a purpose to sign in and play and grind to go for that weapon or that red border or that red border or whatever. And I felt like it kind of kept the game alive a little bit. I just was able to find raid teams, and the community was there somewhat. And I don't know. I don't really have a lot to say on it besides I'm kind of disappointed they did away with it. Especially announcing that they're moving to smaller size DLCs. You would think that it would be possible to carry out the seasonal structure, but now you're kind of at the point where now the DLC launches, you get a 2-week, hype train on that, and then after that it's 6-month content drought with maybe some events to do in the meantime. So I don't know. Destiny Rising really isn't, I don't want to say isn't much better in that regard, but Destiny Rising does give us the seasonal, character story, and we get 2 of those per season, because we get 2 acts per season with Destiny Rising, and we get two to three units within that season, and we always have story to go for, plus all the other end game to get those characters and those units leveled up. And then Destiny Rising also just announced at the time of this podcast that they're going to be making changes to the Pinnacle Energy system, along with giving, more Lumia leaves and things like that, so that way you can level those units faster and have a really, really good free-to-play experience. So that way, you see what I'm saying? And that's way better than having to pay the $10 that people were paying for some of the, those lackluster seasons that we did have. So I don't know, I feel like Destiny Rising kind of knocks it out of the park in terms of seasonal story, or I don't want to say knocks it out of the park, but at least sustains the structure and the model that they have, which is satisfactory and is somewhat enjoyable to play compared to what we had or we're not getting anymore in Destiny 2. And we have 2 more points to go through. We're going to kind of merge 10 and 11, which is imagine, and then my conclusion. Imagine if we had a perfect game like Destiny 2, where we had the seasonal story, we had the DLCs twice a year, we had those story beats that were presented to us where we didn't have to go and read them or not have to listen to them without the voice actors, or listen to them without not having a voice actor and having to read it on the screen and hearing the emotion and the depth in those characters and those story elements. Imagine if we had the old tower. Imagine if we didn't have any of the items sunsetted from the first 2 years of Destiny. The Red War was still in the game. Power resets actually made sense instead of, power, actually made sense instead of, I don't know. Just imagine what we could have. Bungie has the capability to build a perfect game and to hear their players. And I feel like they don't capitalize on that vision, on that imagination as much as they could, and as much as they proved in Final Shape. Final Shape was amazing. The DLC was amazing. Campaign amazing. They capitalized on a lot. They did. But we don't get it every time. And to kind of lead off with my conclusion, as I said earlier, I'm done with Destiny 2. I enjoyed my time with the game over the last 11 years. I told my Twitch chat, I've been playing Destiny since I was a kid. I was in 5th grade when... No, I was in 5th grade when Destiny 1 dropped. Played the beta. I was in 5th grade. I've been playing, Destiny since the very start. I literally was in elementary school, going through middle school and high school playing Destiny 1 and 2 when they dropped. DLCs and everything. And even graduated to play it in my early adult life. And yes, I'm young. If people are wondering, I'm not going to give you an age, but I'm really, really young. And I used to remember my dad took me down to the GameStop before I even had a PC. My dad would take me down to the GameStop, and this is back when you had a console. You had to go and pre-order the DLC, at GameStop, and I personally, I loved it. Destiny should have ended with the Final Shape, and I think they need to do a Destiny 3. I really truly think that Destiny 3 is how you win back the Destiny players. I know that's how for me, personally speaking, I know that's how you win me back. I don't look at the Steam charts. I let the analysts handle that. I just play the game. If you give me a good game to play, I'm gonna play it. Destiny Rising, per the reports, because I don't want to sound biased like Destiny Rising is some type of almighty god, Destiny Rising reported that it lost 80% of the revenue since the launch back in August. And I still play the game. I don't care about how much money those people are pulling into their wallets. I don't care about the player counts that we have in the game, because it's a good game and I enjoy to play it. You go into the Twitch directory, I'm the only one streaming it most of the time. 75% of the time, I'm the only one streaming Destiny Rising across Kick, across Twitch. I focus primarily on Twitch. I don't advertise anything but Twitch. I'm the only one streaming it 75% of the time. That doesn't stop me from playing it because other people aren't doing it. And I think that says a lot about the story I gave you guys here today. So I hope you guys really enjoyed the podcast here. I tried not to make it too long. I'm already an hour in. I tried to keep my thoughts concise and just speak about what I knew. And like I said, if I was wrong about anything in this this podcast here, I hope that you guys will comment down below and just correct me on some of the things that I was wrong on in terms of the Destiny 2 information I provided. Like I said, I maybe have 10 hours across Edge of Fate and Renegades combined. I didn't really play post Final Shape because that was it, you know. And to my Destiny Rising people, I've said it from the start, I'm gonna continue doing the helps, the calamity helps, the raid helps, the PvE helps, and being a champion for our community. I really feel like Destiny Rising is on the rise. I really do. I'm really optimistic, and I think it's on the rise again, and is going to do even better numbers. I really think so, and I'm going to be here for it. And I'm proud to be a Destiny Rising official content creator, and I'm blessed to have and to be in this amazing community with all of you. To the Destiny 2 people who have joined in on this podcast and who are listening to it, I thank you for your time, for listening to this. It really means a lot. I appreciate the love and support and you just taking the time to listen to someone like me. There are, far better creators out there in the space, and I try to triumph and to live up to the hype the best way I can, and to put my name on the map where it deserves to be. And I appreciate you all taking the time to listen to my story on why Destiny 2 Renegades was my last DLC, and why I will continue being a rising creator. And Bungie, if you're listening, you guys are seriously amazing. You guys have the potential of building the best looter shooter game this world has ever seen. And I think with your partnership with Sony on the development of Destiny 3, if and when we ever get it, and if you guys listen to the players over the years, I think you guys are going to have a really great game. But thank you, everybody. This was episode 3 of the Lord's Cast podcast. Thank you all for listening. And I'll see you all in the next Destiny Rising video. Peace out, Girl Scouts. Bye.